I have a cup for Cooper Cup, I guess.
Make sure when you're at the Cheesecake Factory, instead of paying a tip, just write alarm in there.
I'm like MacGyver with running back room.
Yeah, that's pretty true. That's true, and yeah, that's true.
Okay, I'm getting word. We might get Joe Burrow in here. Hey, Joe!
No, I'm not drafting anyone at all.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
I've got information, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday. We are back from the Lightning House. This is the Lightning House, where the house always wins. I'm Kevin Tompkins, Andrew Cooper, Britt Flinn. How we doing, gang?
You know, good to be back in the saddle. We took a couple weeks off, you know. It's good to be back live.
Wait, did we not stream before we did the expo?
It was we did. It was you and me doing the football guys draft.
Right. Yeah, I guess that doesn't really count.
Where you left me high and dry, I had to solo that shit.
We're officially back. Yeah, that was going a little too long for me. So we get some people in the chat, dude. The people are back, dude. Axel in the house.
Simon.
Justin. Simon, dude. There he is. What's
the
up,
Lightning House
we got to see
strong.
We got to see Simon in person at the expo. The expo was a blast, man. Anybody that didn't get a chance to go next year. It's fun. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And Simon, I did win a McDonald's cheeseburger from Simon. I did want to give it to Britt, because she is one of my best friends, but she would not accept that cheeseburger. I don't know why. I don't know if it's something wrong with me. It is what it is. All
right, we are live, baby. We got some folks from Fantasy Alarm in here. We have Ryan Mallon, Ryan Hallam. Dan Malin, Ryan Hallam, Howard Bender, Justin Fencerman. Like, we have a whole squad up in here, dude. Colby Conway, Britt Flinn. I think we have Fensty in here just because like every league has that one dude that's like no good at this. So we wanted to simulate a real league. So we put Fensterman in here. Just kidding.
I don't know if Fensty knows how to do it without having auction values, Like, I think the snake just throws him off a little.
It throws him off, dude. Well, that's why we got to have him in here. That's why they put me in the fantasy baseball draft for that reason. Like, I was their hometown buddy who's just picking guys from like 5 years ago. And I think my draft went well because I was, drafting like, Paul. I was drafting like Albert Pujols. He's just crushing home runs. So let's go.
Yeah, he's doing the thing. But let's reset this. So yes, we are doing a 12-team mock draft with some of the Fantasy Life staff here. It is 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 3 flex, no kicker, no defense. It is full PPR, 4-point passing touchdowns as well, just to kind of reset that for everybody here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, pretty normal format, which is, that's the thing. We're tired of doing best ball drafts. It doesn't give you a real look. Like, I like doing them to get an idea of ADP early, but it's just, you're playing against a bunch of randoms. It's a different format, it's also half PPR, almost all of them underdog is. So we're giving you a real 12-team look at a draft here. I'm on the clock right now. It's full PPR, so I'm going to take DeAndre Swift. In terms of pass catching ability, this is the format for him. You can make arguments against him in half PPR, maybe standard, but in this format, on board.
Yeah,
Boom.
I think that it's really interesting that Justin Jefferson went 2nd overall. We've kind of heard the hype on him that, he's really digging O'Connell's offensive scheme and he knows why, quote, Coop got open so often. Not you, Coop. And I got sniped by Colby. Thank you for that, Colby. I really appreciate you.
That's what you needed.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Lamb, and then, I can't do this again. I went Lamb Javonte in the Dirty Laundry League. So I think I have to switch it up here and go Lamb and Mixon. But yeah, I think that it's, we're kind of starting to buy into that hype that Justin Jefferson really loves Kevin O'Connell's offense, and he has the potential, I think, at this point to be the number 1 overall in fantasy, not just at his position, but overall in fantasy. So it's kind of interesting to see him going at 2 overall.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And like you said, like his comments say everything, because it's clearly he's running the role that you want it to be running. If he's talking about Cooper Kupp and how he got open, like you were a little worried that maybe he wouldn't be in that role, but it sounds like he is. And I just took Alvin Kamara here. Like everything I've seen indicated that he's not going to get suspended. So if it's full PPR, he really needs to honestly start going in the first round, or at least by the swing, because that's the player he is. I mean, 2 years ago, if you had him, you just won your league. He scored 6 touchdowns in the championship. So what are you going to do?
An astute comment here from Puke Sperm. Lamb over Devontae absolutely could never.
What is
well,
that
can we
name?
just talk about the name? I mean, that's a troll move, whatever.
Yeah, that's something. But the point does stand, because, Devontae Adams is kind of one of those guys that he's a bit up in the air. With how he's going to be able to earn the same or similar amount of targets in Las Vegas with Darren Waller, with Hunter Renfrow. But I don't know if that necessitates a slide to 17th overall.
Well, I just think, y'all know that I've had Lamb as a top 5 receiver. I am concerned with the distribution of targets in Las Vegas between Waller, between Renfrow, between Adams. If I'm following my rankings, I have Lamb at 5. So that's why I take him at 5. Now, it kind of was surprising that everybody went a little more running back heavy, especially that we're doing 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs in our starting roster. But yeah, I couldn't take him over Lamb. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these starts. I'm on the clock. I did take Cooper Kupp full PPR. I don't think you can beat that. Even if he regresses, Cooper Kupp is still in line for just massive targets. And I'm not even worried about Stafford either, because I think Allen Robinson is the one guy that you have to worry about with Stafford's arm having to throw to the perimeter. I think Cooper Kupp is kind of insulated within that. If he can kind of gut through that, I think Kupp is still going to be perfectly fine. I do have Jefferson over Kupp, but that's just nitpicking. Don't see how I could take anybody but Debo Samuel here, though, honestly.
Love it. I actually would have taken Debo over Tyreek Hill at the 2.7. We just don't really know what Miami's offense is going to look like. And that just seems high to me for Hill. But, who knows? It could all change, but.
Yeah, also, he's not particularly a PPR guy. You know what I mean? He's kind of a high ADOT guy, big chunk play type player. Of all the formats, this is probably the one where it's not necessarily his best one, but he's Tyreek Hill. So we'll have to see what happens there. With Debo Samuel, you look at the odds for him when you look at the sports books, and they only have him at like 925 receiving yards, but a lot of those books have him at like 350 rushing yards, and 4.5 is the over under for rushing touchdowns for Debo. Kind of makes me want to bet the under on that, considering how fluky that type of stuff is. But when you add up his, the yardage that the books believe he's going to have combined and the touchdowns he's going to have, it's like 12 or 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. So the sports books at least are on board with him. That's about, that's pretty much higher than anybody. The only one that they project to have 10 touchdowns is Mike Evans. Nobody else has that over under that high. And the only person there's only a couple guys in that yardage range, and it's basically Jefferson and Kupp. So if you look at what the sports books are saying, they're predicting Debo to once again be the focal point of the offense, which is what he was last year. And, that's the kind of vibe you get from the team last year, is they just used him all the time, right? Like there's certain players are like that, Cooper Kupp. So other guys, you don't get that feeling from them. At least with Javonte Williams last year, you didn't get that feeling. So interesting to kind of think about it from that standpoint. Like, what guys do these offenses fully lean on?
Right. I want to ask you guys something too, because I'm looking at, the first 5 draft slots. I would say pretty agreed upon between all 3 of us that McCaffrey, Taylor, some kind of combination of Kupp, Chase, I guess Eckler. You can make a top 5 or top 6. Does that give you a decided advantage with having one of those 6 picks versus having, the 110, 111, 112? Because I'm looking at the starts, and while I do like the Swift Kamara start, I like Diggs, Barkley, Lamb, Mixon. Getting one of those top 6 guys just feels like such an advantage this season.
Yeah, I think there is a pretty big teardrop that happens. But we've seen in the past, like some of the top guys have disappointed. And I kind of think that JT is set up to do that this season because Frank Reich has said that he used him too much last season. He's talked up Nyheim Hines and they brought in Matt Ryan. So just because, their projections and they did well last year are all better than what you get in that second round doesn't exactly mean that it'll turn out that way. Now, do I like picking at the 12? No. So I will be just completely frank on that. But, you roll with the punches.
Yeah. I mean, I have my personal top 6. Depending on format, Najee is a guy that I also put at 7 just because in full PPR, he caught like 74 passes last year. I know they're talking about potentially reducing his usage, but I mean, Eddie Faulkner, the RB coach, also said he's the best at everything. So it's hard to do that, so I'm not really too worried about it. For me in full PPR, where it gets dicey, like you said, Kev, is like right after that tier goes and you have to decide between like Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, who's not, even with the increased usage, he's not a big PPR guy. Dalvin Cook, who gets hurt every single year. It's like, yeah, Najee's in there too. Although I actually like Najee out of that crew. And for me personally, I do like Najee and Cook. So it's kind of like in that 9-10 range though. I mean, I like Swift and Diggs enough that for me personally, if I was doing this entire draft myself, Derrick Henry might not even go in the first 12 picks, as crazy as that sounds.
No.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it, about like their line and their usage and stuff like that. So that makes total sense.
Right. It's like, in full PPR, are you taking Stephon Diggs or Derrick Henry?
I don't know if there's going to be a video about Kamala, the famous WWF wrestler. Perhaps you meant Kamara. But if you did mean Kamara, don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry.
No, I said, would you take Derrick Henry or Stephon Diggs?
You're asking me, I'd be taking Diggs. That foot injury is tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. I understand the upside with Derrick Henry. I mean, we're all into the projected workloads thing, but it's pretty much a similar injury to what ended the career of Sean Alexander. I mean, he was running 300 carries, had that foot injury, a Jones fracture, and he was out of the league a year and a half later. So, we want to say, Derrick Henry didn't really start getting the 300-yard carry, seasons until recently, but he's piled them on the last couple seasons into the 370s. So, I mean, I think you have to factor that in too.
Yeah, it is scary. I mean, and the foot injuries, like across the board, like you see how quickly the running backs can go downhill. Like LaDainian Tomlinson, another one, I believe his was a turf toe, but like he was basically done when that happened. He went to the Jets, he was just okay, and then it was pretty much over. And Sean Alexander, geez, like it was over in a flash for him. So it is scary for sure.
Yep, agreed. Hi Wendy, this is not a best ball draft. This is it's a mock for a managed league. So it is not a best ball format. And also my voice is starting to feel it because I've been in the lab doing some recording for some of the player preview videos that we are doing. So going to have to dip into a little of that lemon tea, I guess. I've heard things.
You just have to use your diaphragm when you speak, It's the old singer's trick. Yeah, project,
yeah.
Support.
Sing us a song, actually. do a song.
I'm not drunk enough for that. Or at all.
That's for the expo.
It is. You'll have to go next year.
The Jose's Landing was very fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Britt was showing off the pipes.
I was impressed.
For like one, and then I Irished goodbye. I have to bring up Colby here, though, because he has sniped me at both turns.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
That's a good anchor start right there.
You wanted DJ Moore?
Yeah.
I would have taken Moore there too. I was planning on taking wide receiver, and then when you guys took 4 off the board, I was like, you know what? Forget it.
Yeah, pivot.
There's a lot of flex. The thing is, with the way this is set up, it has multiple flexes, so you can really take best available.
Yep.
Sometimes when it's just one flex, especially with 2 wide receivers, I kind of, you can kind of overdraft wide receivers if there's 2 wide receiver spots in one flex and you end up with 7 wide receivers. Like, you're kind of you're giving yourself an ice cream headache, as John and Pemba would say. So for me, when it comes to these ones with, especially with multiple flexes, I encourage people to play with multiple flexes, and I encourage people to play with a lot of bench spots, because if you're watching this show right now, or if you're a Fantasy Alarm member, you care about fantasy football. Like, you're in this like we are, and you love this. So why wouldn't you give yourself an advantage in your league? Do everything possible to make the league as deep as possible where you can really shine. It's these shallow leagues that's like, playing last place in Mario Kart, and you're just helping the people that don't study, because the waiver is just full of, it's like getting the star in Mario Kart. The waiver is just full of all these running backs and wide receivers, and you're bailing these guys out. You want the league to be set up where you get to draft on all the studs, all the sleepers, and have them all before they break out. So that's why I like lots of flexes, lots of bench spots in the leagues I play in.
Yep, absolutely.
I think I might be drafting a running back here, folks.
Oh man. Did you get body snatched?
How dare you?
Gotta do it.
Yeah, there he is.
I love it. I do love it.
Even I'd take him there.
I love Dobbins.
He is a clear. I'm wavering a bit on Breece Hall. The stuff came out today about Michael Carter. I mean, he's still number 1 on the depth chart. He might. DeAndre Swift, when he came in as a rookie, I mean, he wasn't the guy either. It took him a good half a season to even get anything close to where he could start him. So yep. I think it's kind of a tough proposition. I think the same thing would have happened to Jonathan Taylor if Marlon Mack hadn't gotten hurt, where they would have just worked him in. And, same, I think Miles Sanders was that kind of back too, where, these rookie running backs, if there's a guy in front of them, they're going to get worked in eventually. I mean, you would think you'd see the talent of Breece Hall, come out probably mid-season where they're clearly overtaking the guy. But J.K. Dobbins Gus Edwards may not start the season. Right now, they're looking at Mike Davis and Tyler Beatty. I mean, Mike Davis is getting a little bit of steam somehow for whatever reason into getting some kind of work. But, I mean, J.K. Dobbins in that offense, they're telling you what they want to do. I mean, I wrote about this in Fantasy Alarm. I mean, we went back and forth on J.K. Dobbins and why you should start him, why you shouldn't start him.
Yeah, real quick in the chat, James Grande goes, he works for Fantasy Alarm. He goes, ice cream headache, brain freeze. Hello, dude. So I've always called it a brain freeze too. That's why I think it's funny that Impemba calls it an ice cream headache, and that's why I always use that instead, just because it's a ridiculous thing to say. But I agree, the term is brain freeze. I don't know, anybody in the chat ever call it ice cream headache? I think Impemba might be the only one. Yeah.
He is on an island. I've never heard of. I mean, I have heard of ice cream headache, but it has always been brain freeze.
That's an Impembaism. That's why we got to mix it in, dude. Got to support the family.
Mr. Vanilla himself.
Hey, so I want to ask you guys, because they went back to back here, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about these guys, and it's a difficult spot for you guys. Do you have a big preference for either Terry McLaurin or Deontay Johnson if you have to take one?
I think it's Johnson by a mile. I really do.
Terry
McLaurin hasn't finished above wide receiver 19 since he's played. And, he does really well with those deep balls. And people can say that he's played with the best quarterback of his career at this point. But Carson Wentz is not known for throwing those deep balls. And Johnson is still going to get those targets with those, whether it's Trubisky or Rudolph or Pickett. I mean, those are typically low ADOT quarterbacks. He's still going to get force-fed those targets, and I don't really think that it's particularly close.
Yeah, you can make the case that there's a slight quarterback upgrade from what Big Ben was last season to, I mean, it's sad to kind of say, but Deontay Johnson's just always been a strong wide receiver, even going back to college where, targets per route run, yards per route run. He's been very strong, and then just that all translated to Pittsburgh now. So, I mean, Deontay Johnson is in, I have him just at the end of that DJ Moore, Keenan Allen kind of tier. He's dropping on in best ball leagues. I can't understand why. I mean, because I don't think anything's really happened except for, unless people are just completely, on the George Pickens thing. And for some reason, that's a byproduct, him just dropping. a few spots in ADP, but I don't understand why some people are starting to kind of get a little down on Deontay Johnson. Don't get it. I think I'm on the clock now. I should probably pick somebody.
Yeah, I mean, so our overlords in Las Vegas have Terry. They have them both at 6.5 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin they have at 1,000.5 yards. Deontay Johnson at 950.5. So pretty close. They go slightly into Terry, but I mean, I don't know. It's the reality though. Carson Wentz might be if I had to pick a quarterback that I think is going to play better this season, I think I would have Carson Wentz over both of the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks. I don't know about you guys, but I think Carson Wentz right now is a better quarterback than either of those guys. You know, Kenny Pickett could be better long-term, but he needs to develop, you know? I mean, I think the odds of one of those guys stepping in and just being better than Carson Wentz right now, it's tough considering neither one of them even played last year in the NFL.
I don't think that they're going to be better than Carson Wentz, like just from a positional standpoint, but I think that where Deontay Johnson thrives versus where McLaurin thrives, Johnson is better suited to exhibit his skill set with his current quarterback than McLaurin is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just want to say
with Trubisky or Pickett.
I mean, I think with either one.
So you think they're going to continue to throw kind of shallow passes like Big Ben was doing?
Yeah, I really do.
A lot more play action too, because Matt Canada really wanted to do that, but physical limitations on Ben.
Yeah, they want to do the Canada wants to do the RPOs, right?
Yeah.
So I think it is those guys. I have them back to back. I just wanted to see how you guys felt about it. Dude, I think Chase Edmonds is a guy that's been growing on me. Just thinking about, you know, them going out and getting Teron Armstead, them, you know, bringing in Mike McDaniel's offense, like that situation is going to be conducive to whatever running back can earn that job. I think Chase Edmonds, given the money they gave him, has the first shot to it. You know, Mostert and Sony Michel being there is pretty much the only reason that I think is keeping Edmonds from going a little higher. So Edmonds in this range is definitely growing on me. AJ Dillon's another guy I like, which makes me kind of happy. I got my wide receivers. Oh, Thielen, Ivor, Anderson. That's my boy.
I just want to say that I'm really disappointed that after I took Dobbins, 7 wide receivers went off the board. And the 2 of them being the 2 guys that I had like queued up, ready to go, Gabe Davis and Jalen Waddle.
Oh,
I'll just take a guy. I've written a lot of words on this offseason.
You've written a lot of words on so that everybody. Doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do write quite a few words. I wrote like 30,000 words on tight ends already. But Rashad Bateman wrote a full article on why I think he's going to be good this year, and that offense really does consolidate the targets among the top 2 guys, given the number of tight ends they use, the number of fullbacks they use. I don't think that's going to change. So I think Bateman's kind of falling backwards into that role that even Marquise Brown got 150 targets or whatever it was. I don't think they're going to throw as much this year, but I think Bateman's pretty safe for 100 targets. And in the 5th round, you can't really ask for much more than that.
Yep, I agree. By the way, Britt, Herbert with Mike Williams. That's a good start. Lamb, Mixon, Mooney, Williams, Herbert, and Ramondre.
I know that Mixon and Ramondre have the same bye week, but we don't draft like our grandparents did around here, right?
There's so many flexes.
Bye week Twitter is mobilizing right now. They're coming to our stream with the pitchforks. The shadow cabal that is bye week Twitter is en route.
Well, by week 10, there's going to be plenty of people to pick up on waivers because all the running backs will get hurt anyway. So I think I'm fine there.
I dig it.
Coop with the Drake London, the first rookie wide receiver off the board.
Going with the upside. He was the first rookie wide receiver drafted in real life here. He's going to, people like, you know, just like Bateman, he's going to be playing every single snap. They don't have anybody else really. You know what I mean? Yep. Like we're not even considering drafting other wide receivers from this team. It's Bateman. It's London. It's Pitts, you know? So I'm on board with it to see what happens because a lot of times, and I know Howard preaches this a lot as well, opportunity is the most important thing at this stage of the game. You know, we've seen good players. Like if you think about guys like Demaryius Thomas and Des Bryant and Antonio Brown, that whole draft class of guys, they didn't get a chance to really start. Meanwhile, Mike Williams, the old Mike Williams from the Bucks, started right away, and he was the best rookie wide receiver, right? And then later on, those guys get their shot and they're awesome. Chris Godwin didn't get to start right away. Meanwhile, guys like Keelan Cole got an opportunity right away and they put up numbers. Drake London happens to be both good and starting right away, just like Justin Jefferson. So I don't see why he can't have a high end season. He might just not be good, but I'm willing to take that risk at this pick.
Man, Breece Hall slid so much.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say, like, I know I wrote the con side of drafting Breece Hall at ADP, but at 6, like, I could take him there.
Yeah. It's between two guys for me. One guy that is, I already have one of his wide receivers, but I'm still in on the efficiency here, and I'm going to just play into that entire offense here. I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk here.
Good pick.
I like it.
Good pick. A lot of noise about him this offseason that, he basically that last offseason, he just wasn't up to speed. The injury and everything made it so he, couldn't really go without taking plays off. And this is a brutal game. So that does happen. You see it with Hard Knocks where they talk about, you go and just practicing with the pads on, it beats you up, so they basically said that this year he's ready to go. He came in professional attitude and it could be a big year for him. And on the flip side, we see Breece Hall. Do you think 2 days ago Breece Hall would have been going where he just went? I don't think so.
He would have gone in the middle of the 5th.
Right. And that's the world we live in now, where we're drafting right now with a bunch of analysts, all of us perpetually online, terminally online, and just reacting to every bit of news. But you have to in this industry, especially at this time of year. Like, this is a slightly early draft, but a lot of us play in multiple leagues where from now on, I don't know about you guys, but from now till the start of the season, I have drafts every Saturday, every Sunday, a couple during the week, so you have to keep your ear to the streets, especially week 3, because this is the week where we really do kind of get to see the walkthroughs for preseason. At least they roll out the starters, so now's the time. Dude, Kittle at that value, I would even have taken Kittle here, and I don't really take those guys often, but he shouldn't be going that far after Waller. It should be a situation where if you like Kittle, it should go bang bang once Waller goes, in my opinion.
Do y'all think people are just scared of the change in quarterback or of his, injuries over the past few seasons? Or do you think it's like kind of a combo of both?
I think that's exactly what it is. With the emergence of Debo and Ayuk now, and the thing is, when I did my article, they really haven't all played a lot of games at the same time, where someone's always been banged up,
Mm-hmm.
Like Debo missed a ton of games last year. Kittle missed a ton of games. Very few examples of games where all 3 guys have played together. And Kittle is kind of boom bust in the way he operates, but there's going to be a lot of boom. I think he's a great best ball pick because just think about how open he was getting with the old RPO offense. Now picture the quarterback being Trey Lance, and you do a fake handoff and the tight end sneaks out. And with his speed, he runs like a 4.5. Nobody has more. No tight end has more plays over 60 yards than he has. He's the only tight end over the last 5 years that has more than one play over 70 yards. And he has 3 of them. He has multiple 80-yard plays. Like that's what Kittle brings. So you can know that he's going to crush weeks for you. It's just it does get a little scary with some of the game script. Like the Lions game at the beginning of last year, where they just crushed the Lions until the very end of the game when the Lions did a bunch of weird stuff and kind of came back a little bit. But they were down by 35 points with half the fourth quarter left, and they just ran the ball all game. And the team is not scared to do that. So Kittle is going to have those weeks too.
Right. And I will just answer this. You guys can chime in too, but obviously Elijah Moore and Waddle for CD. I don't know if I would give up 2 of those in redraft for CD Lamb. I think if it's a 2 wide receiver league, I do that 100% and take CD. Yeah, if you have multiple flexes, I just don't know if I'd give that up.
Right. If it's 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 flex, I'm spending a lot of time just trying to do 2-for-1s and get the best possible players and figure out the rest of it. Yeah, to consolidate down because I don't know. In the back of my mind, in the back of your mind, you should always be having this idea that you're going to find the guy off waivers, like you're going to find the breakouts, and you're going to want to start those guys in the flex. So, but if it's a 3 wide receiver league, I would take the depth. But in a 2 wide receiver league, I would take CeeDee Lamb.
Yep, I think that's fair.
Calvin, what up?
Can we talk about Lamar Jackson going as the 3rd quarterback off the board? Like, I feel like
in 4-point touchdown, I'm with it.
But with his contract situation, do you guys think he's going to hold out or not? Or do you guys think it's going to be MVP Lamar year?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to hold out. What can he really do? Can he really say oh, I'm not going to run it today because I don't want to get hurt? I don't know if he could really get away with that in this league, especially with Tyler Huntley hanging out, and obviously he's not that caliber of player, but I think they're going to figure it out. They're going to pay the guy, and he has the kind of asymmetrical upside we're looking for in a 4-point passing league,
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it's more a product of Britt Flinn going out there and pouring so much cold water on Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? I think this is your fault. You moved the needle on. We're all fantasy alarm. We all read the article, so
we all heard you on Sirius too.
We've we're paying attention. So I think that might be the case, dude. Patrick Mahomes is a guy that his ADP has now gotten to a place where I'll consider him because
now it feels acceptable.
Right. Because he was going 2 when you wrote the article, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a fine spot taken by Fensty.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with
Fensty's actually having a pretty good draft, dude. Now I feel bad for giving him a hard time, but he knows I love him.
Well, that's the thing with especially with industry stuff, quarterbacks are going to be weighted on big time. So that's why you're seeing, Herbert. I mean, these guys are probably going to go, if you're in your 12-team, home league or 10-team home league, quarterback's going to go flying off the board. It's just the nature of the beast.
No question.
With people that, that are in tune, that are drafting, multiple times a week and doing all this stuff, just you can afford to wait on quarterbacks. I mean, that part probably isn't as representative as what it's going to be like in your home league, but it's what it is.
Yep, there it is. There's a John and Pemba branded pick right there with Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I love it though.
So here's a pick that I'm making a lot now, and I don't know if it's going to feel good at the end of the day, but as of late, I've kind of loved this particular pick. He's back, he's playing, and the Robert Woods that I've seen is rock solid. And when we're talking, he's going now well outside the RB2 range, where I think he's a guy that I can put in my lineup and feel comfortable about it, especially he's my wide receiver 4 now. So he feels kind of safe to me. And now I like it, especially taking Drake London, which is pretty risky. Robert Woods feels kind of safe to me. And now he's a guy that can be a bridge to me making more upside picks now that I have at least 3 guys that I trust and already another upside guy. Now I don't have to worry so much about floor. And we kind of missed the pick. So I want to ask you guys your thoughts on Damian Pierce, where Howard took him.
Yeah, that's exact. I was going to get to that. I was waiting for you to finish your soliloquy there. But I think 704 is a bit too rich for Damian Pierce. I mean, we expect, I don't know what the Vegas over under is in the Texans win total. Probably under 5, I would say that. So I just don't know if he's going to get any of the receiving work that's going to make him valuable outside of, negative, he's going to have a lot of negative game script. So I would figure that Rex Burkhead's going to be there. That's why I really like Rex Burkhead, like the last round or second to last round, because I think he's going to get a lot more work that people anticipate. And, Damian Pierce, that just turns him into a grinder. Now, unless he's just a superstar and commands that backfield, which is possible, but I just don't know if I want to take that on a Texans team that's still rebuilding, that's still trying to find some kind of identity. I don't want to take that in the 7th round.
Yeah, I feel that, man. And the thing is, though, it's like in a normal league, I don't mind it as much compared to this format. Right. So where Howard already has Eckler, Chubb, and Edmonds, he can take that stab trying to catch lightning in a bottle. But in this league, that dude's in your lineup, right? And you still need another wide receiver. Like whatever wide receiver Howard drafts next is in his lineup, right? So that's where you get a little risky. But I just drafted a guy who's suspended for 6 games. So I mean, I can't really call him out for risky moves. You know what I mean? Like this dude's missing a good chunk of the season. But the way I always draft and the way I think a lot of people should draft, we talk about draft like you're right? Draft like you're going to make the playoffs too. Like if you don't make the playoffs, then who cares, right? So for me, I always play like I'm going to make the playoffs. So I'll draft, not guys that are hurt necessarily. I actually really don't like drafting guys that are hurt to start the season, but DeAndre Hopkins isn't hurt. He's working out right now, probably getting yoked, ready to come back and prove to everybody that he's awesome. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll just have to find other guys. But like I said, because I draft, like Mike Evans can be in my lineup every week. I assume Bateman will. Robert Woods can be if Drake London, doesn't pan out. And then now I can take upside shots on Hopkins. So it's a pick that I can make. Like Howard, because of the way he started his draft, you have to think about it. In a 3 wide receiver league, he can't take DeAndre Hopkins there, even if he wanted to, because, he doesn't have a 3rd wide receiver yet.
Thinking Pemba had an ice cream headache there. I got autoed Brian Robinson.
Oh, he must have picked Brian Robinson, dude, because he must have put Robinson in the queue because there's no way Robinson was next in the ADP. Not on this website.
Fail safe auto pick made. I don't know what that means, but
he must have put it in. He must have put it in. There's no way because there's no way he was next.
No,
this website can't have ADP that updates.
Board, but
not
that much.
Right, yeah, definitely not in ADP.
Not in this economy.
And I know RT Sports can be a little wonky sometimes, but there's no chance that was the next player.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, let's take a look here.
Yeah, but Gibson's falling down boards, huh?
Oh my gosh.
That's terrible, bro. So Scott is live in Vegas. So we know that's a legit line, right? Scott Frankel, boots on the ground in Las Vegas.
On the ground.
Thank you, Scott, dude. Bringing the line in. And I'm talking like 4.5 is terrible, bro. Like the year that the Dolphins were tanking on purpose and everyone knew it, their over-under wins was 4.5. And that was the lowest in the league. And there were only 16 games that year. So for Vegas to come out and say 4.5 for the Texans, they're expecting that team to be bad news bears.
I think they'll show a little fight. It'll kind of be like how the Lions were last year. They'll have a lot of close matchups.
A lot of winning culture while they only win 3 games.
Yeah, exactly. So there will be opportunity to put up fantasy points, but it's not going to be pretty at the end of the day for sure.
There we go.
And there we go. Yep.
Yeah.
He accepts his fate.
Yeah. I mean, dude,
That's
Brian
very
Robinson, not even a bad pick, dude. That's like such a hater pick to make, though. I feel like with like if you really hate Antonio Gibson, you've been just waiting for a reason to just twist the knife. That's like I feel like the people that draft Boston Scott just do it to be mean to Miles Sanders. Like those spite picks, dude. That's like me drafting
the head.
Yeah, that's like me drafting DJ Chark. I'm just like, yeah, Chark's gonna be way better than Amon-Ra St. Brown, no question.
It's like me drafting Tom Kennedy.
Kennedy Brooks.
Yeah. There's your play. You know what? Last round, why not?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's the one position where they do come out. The undrafted free agents, man, they just come out of nowhere, right? Like,
or they have Jordan Howard on speed dial and just want to run it back, buddy.
With Howard in the draft, you got to be careful. You got to be careful besmirching Jordan Howard. Okay, that's one of his. That's still a sore spot for him. So
hey, I just want to say, if I was 101, my career was in limbo tonight. You were
gonna pull the trigger.
I might.
You were gonna do something crazy.
Is that why the draft order got swapped?
Maybe. I don't know. We did not think of that, but
you were gonna risk it all. Who are you going with again?
It was gonna be Gabe Davis 101. I just wanted.
Where did he go?
went
He
went in that
fifth.
wide receiver run I talked about right before I took Marquise Brown.
So that's actually not a terrible. I don't mind that picking him there. Because Amon Ross St. Brown went a little early, but I don't mind Gabe Davis there because it's close to the guys that I have in a similar spot. I'm personally taking Thielen and Bateman ahead of him, but sometimes I see Davis going. He has a 4th round ADP, so for him to go in the 5th, I feel like that's good enough value because the upside's there. Everyone knows the upside's there, but the floor is there too.
Howard gets a homer pick with Garrett Wilson.
Well, hey,
not like I can say much. I have 2 Cowboys. I'm just,
Yeah. That's what's great about being a Pats fan is that there's no homer players to pick. Like I never have to worry about it. It was like, Tom Brady and Gronk for a while there, but somebody in my league, 1 year a kid took Brady and Gronk in the 1st and 2nd round when it was like unacceptable. And he came in like 2nd in the league because they were awesome. Yeah. That's just the kind of homer stuff that works every once in a while.
That's why home leagues make no sense.
Dude, one kid that won my home league went super 0 RB to the point where he only had 1 running back that was even ready to start the season when the season started, and he won the league. And his 1 running back he had was LeGarrette Blount, and he scored like 18 touchdowns. And then he just I think he picked up like Jeremy Hill or somebody off waivers that was awesome as well. So or somebody, I forget who it was that year, but it was just the most ridiculous draft I've ever seen. Like he went full hero 0 RB where LeGarrette Blount was barely even a starter. They just let him leave and then brought him back. And and then there was 18 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Homer stuff.
So I just want to I've taken my 7th wide receiver, and a lot of people will probably wonder, you're only starting 6. You got 3 wide receivers. You have 3 flex. Why are you taking a 7th and going into your bench so quickly? I think just filling your roster spots is very overrated. Like filling your 1 quarterback, your 2 running backs, your 3 wide receivers, your tight end, and then your 3 flexes, like making sure you have everything and then getting into your bench. With my strategy, I mean, this is something I've typically, done. If you know me, I'm typically very, 0 RB centric or in this case, modified anchor centric. But, having the 7 wide receivers at least gives you some outs with your bye week. So you're still hammering home the advantage at wide receiver on bye weeks. So you're not dipping into the, waiver wire to have to grab, if I'm losing Ayuk or if I'm losing Debo, I can still hammer you with Treylon Burks. I can still do that. But also injuries happen, the chaos of the NFL season, projection error. Not all these guys are going to hit. Like Sky Moore could be a dud in the 8th round. Juju Smith-Schuster could come on MVS, and then Sky Moore maybe can't even see the field unless it's super 4 wide receiver things. I think that is something that's very lost within people going with the 0 or the anchor strategies, is that there's these things you have to think about when you're constructing your roster. Definitely projection error is something that like I said, not all these guys are going to hit. Injuries happen. It's just the NFL, it's a week-to-week season. It's not, you're drafting for week 1, and then so much can change in 1 week.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. And just think about it. Like last year, you thought you'd be starting Calvin Ridley every week. You thought you'd be starting Allen Robinson every week. Dust. Those guys were, you know what I mean? Like how long did people sit there starting Allen Robinson because they drafted him and didn't draft anyone else?
Yeah, Ayuk was dead for the first, season. 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
Right.
Basically until they started using Debo in a wide back role, Ayuk was dead.
Yeah, so you put yourself in a pretty big hole doing that. Oh, I'm on the clock. So be careful. That's all. End of rant. All right, I'm going to take.
Oh, go ahead, Coop.
I'm going to take with this many flex spots. I'm going to take this player. It's not a sexy pick. Not a sexy pick, but I trust him to score points every single week. This guy.
I like it. I think it's getting a little overblown, maybe like the, Javonte's the guy thing. And of course, when you hear it from Melvin Gordon's own mouth, you're like, oh, is this really what we're doing here? But I mean, it's still going to be a split. There's still going to be plenty of work for Gordon. I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I liked Gamewell as well. Colby's a sharp gamer. And also if you're looking for craft beers or any sort of beer recommendations, Colby's a guy, dude. He's got that on lock. But my pick there was a little bit of gamesmanship because I wanted to take a quarterback, but I knew that Britt already had one. So I could get Dak Prescott or Russell Wilson, whoever came back to me. If Colby wanted to take one, he took Russell Wilson. I'm going to take Dak. That lets somebody else get Joe Burrow still, right? There's kind of enough quarterbacks left, but I don't trust it to go all the way down and back, right? Without me getting the guys I want. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think on Dak, Russell, Burrow? Do you have a preferred guy? I mean, Burrow is pretty chalky. If it were 6-point passing, I would take Burrow for sure. But I don't know. Where are you guys at with those guys?
I mean, I'm still pretty sorry, go ahead, Britt.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm pretty bullish on Burrow gaining back some of those rushing yards. I mean, you could kind of excuse it last year because of the ACL injury. I mean, I would say 500 rushing yards is the absolute ceiling. I mean, Justin Herbert had in the 300s last year. I think Burrow is a much better rusher than Justin Herbert. I mean, that's, and I mean, I would place bet if it were legal here, I would be placing every bet I could on Joe Burrow winning league MVP this season. That's how just completely in on him I am. Still like Dak Prescott. Still, I mean, Russell Wilson, I really like. I mean, these are the bargains here. I mean, once you start getting in the car, that's kind of the line where I feel comfortable starting a quarterback weekly here. But, the fact that obviously this is an industry league. So look, and then I took Joe Burrow there, which is a great pick. And now that should leave me open to take the quarterback that I want. I think we could pretty much figure out who that's going to be. Yeah, I'm fully in on Burrow. I mean, Trey Lance is an easy pick for me here.
Yeah, I will say that Burrow. I will say that Dak also. He broke his ankle pretty bad. It was just coming off that, so they're both coming off a similar situation. And Dak started his career 6 rushing touchdowns in each of his first 3 seasons. Bing, bang, boom, 6. So I don't think that's something that he's lost. And I think that now that he's fully healthy, that could be back on the table for him too. Also, with less weapons in general, Dak could be a little more pressure on him to make things happen. So, I don't mind any of those players there. And that's why I wait so long, is because there it is. Is that the
old Denny Carter?
Denny Carter. Yeah. That's a classic. James Robinson, man. Isaiah Pacheco. There's a hype pick. That gets the hair sticking up on your arm there. A little Pacheco pick. That's a Twitter darling. Now, there's players out there that I call them hover players, that my mouse hovers over the name, and I add them to queues, take them out, but I never take them. And James Robinson to me is like this year, he's such a hover player to me, where I'm just like looking at his name over and over, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with him. So I don't know. Do you guys ever take James Robinson?
I haven't.
No.
I have him on some dynasty rosters. I'm pretty sure it was a dynasty roster that I took over as an orphan, but I don't actively go out to grab Robinson. I think there's too much working against him on that offense with the split with ETN, with the coaching change, honestly. Like Doug Peterson's always used a committee approach. He doesn't excite me.
Yeah, I really could probably stand to take a couple shares of him just as like ETN hedges, because it seems like they want to roll him out as long as he's healthy a little bit. He's one of those guys I just cannot exactly. You hover over him and you're like, well, no, because I like this guy and I like the upside of this guy. Like in that draft range, I mean, I'm prioritizing the upside, and I just can't bring myself to take the potential second back coming off an Achilles injury. I just can't make that click. It's a tough click.
Yeah, that's the whole
early.
thing.
Wow,
Yeah, super early. Ryan's reaching for the all early ADP team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I hate it. I mean, he's got a good chance to be the second target on the team, and Matt Ryan's still a good quarterback. I mean,
he does.
I don't care.
I mean, I just think I think you can still get him a couple rounds later, though. I'm going to take a guy that's actually getting a lot of buzz right now as far as running backs go. You know, a lot of stuff has come out about Cam Akers and how it's going to be him and Darrell Henderson. I'm going to take Darrell Henderson here as my second RB.
I like that.
I don't mind that. I did an auction earlier today for some reason, and Henderson's surprising. Yeah, for some reason. I knew what it was. Some dude on Twitter called me out and was like, "Wish you were in one of my leagues." I was like, "Send the link, bro." And he sends me a link to a league, and it's like a $100 Yahoo auction league. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." He's like, "Drafts at 4 p.m. on Wednesday." I was like, "I'll be
bait
there."
and hooked.
I was like, I'll be there, bro. Yeah, so I did an auction draft today against some normies. Crushed, absolutely. But Darrell Henderson surprisingly went for like $7 or $8, dude. And like we're talking about like at a time when a lot of guys were going for like 2, you know. So it wasn't just one person in this random Twitter challenge league that I was in. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff I spend my time on, dude. Just for spite. Now I'm gonna pay the most attention to that league, and when I win that league, which is inevitable, I'm gonna absolutely thrash that guy on Twitter. That's how I roll.
Would you guys take Aaron Jones over Chubb in standard? I don't. I think I probably
standard.
I think I would.
No. I take Chubb. I would take Chubb over
Chubb.
Aaron Jones in standard.
I think Aaron Jones is going to be that pass catching 1A, and Dylan's going to be that power runner 1A. So in standard, I don't think that Jones has the same upside as Chubb does.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just thinking about what I mean.
That's true.
With the ambiguity of the passing game in Green Bay, I mean, I think he could still get 600-700 yards through the air in addition to close to 1,000, and then still have at least the touchdown equity to match up with Chubb. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. Not even needing the receptions to be even. But I can understand the case for Chubb as well, especially if that backfield shakes up too. If they trade Kareem Hunt or whatever happens, if he somehow gets the backfield by himself.
Yeah.
I really like that Rachaad White pick. I mean, you're never twisting my arm, you know, any kind of Rachaad White news. I mean, he's about, you know, another training camp, you know, puff piece away from getting his jersey behind me.
Are you kidding, dude? He made a one-handed catch. Do you see the one-handed catch on Twitter today?
I sure did. Did I see it?
Get him on the wall, bro. You see that? One-handed catches moves you up at least around, in my opinion.
That's why. And then he's a lot of the reason why I'm not really drafting that much Fournette either. I mean, Fournette's a fine running back. He's just never really been efficient in receiving, in rushing, and you know they really are seeming like they want to prioritize White in the passing game. And Brady doesn't just pass on third down. He'll pass on first and second down as well. So I think Rachaad White's going to have as close to a standalone role value. You know, you can find in the 11th round here. I mean, you can see him going into the 10th, possibly the end of the 9th. I think it's anywhere you can get him in this range. I think it's a good pick.
All right. You ready to see me take a player that is the opposite of hype? Well, actually, how many running backs do I have? 4. Yeah, you want to see me take a player who's the opposite of hype? But I don't care.
Well, you're hyping us up for it, so do it.
Wow, this is the most hype about the non-hype pick.
Wow, Grande. That's low.
Dude, Grande, I thought I told the mods to kick him out of the chat while he was giving Ingram spoilers earlier, dude. And Grande's in this draft. He's babyface up there, so mods, get him out. Revoke his alarm code, please. His alarm code access, the code that gives you access to 100%, matching 100% of your deposit up to $100 on Underdog. Doing the same thing on Thrive Fantasy. Giving you $25 match on Yahoo. I mean, like we say, plug it in anywhere. But promo code ALARM, get it rocking this year. Grande's alarm code has been revoked. Yeah, there we go. There's Ed Bunnell in the chat saying done. Yeah.
Love to see it.
Sorry, Grande. Code's revoked, bud. Get him out. Get him out.
Yeah. What we need is like, that meme where it's like the guy's got the arms crossed and the glasses, and he's next to the door. And then it's like, if it's a good take, the door is open. Yeah. Like that's Ed right now.
Get him out, dude.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, man.
Well, Should probably continue. Oh, let me see who's up on the board here. Because it's probably running back time still for me. But
I kind of quietly like that Mostert pick, dude. Like I want to find more spots to grab Mostert just because he's so explosive, man. He's so good. Sorry, Kev, you're on the clock.
I am. I don't know if I can do a running back here.
Do it. You know who to pick. Pick the guy you want to pick.
No, I do, but there's a wide receiver out there that might be. He might be that guy.
You have 7 wide receivers,
Kev's
bro.
just pushing it to the limit all over the place.
I know who you're doing, but is he that guy though?
We're gonna find out now, aren't we?
Yep, we all knew. We all knew that was the guy.
Shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there. If Pickens is going in the 9th, Dub shouldn't be there in the 12th.
I hope the player gets sniped that we all know you were going to take the running back. Let's see.
Who was it going to? No, tell me. No, because obviously you're not up. Britt's not up. Who is it?
Fucking Grande's in the chat, dude. Like he's in. We might have got
Grande
him successfully removed.
Grande, I dare you to take him. I dare you. This is a threat.
So here's the player. Here's the player that I thought you were going to take. The guy the running back that you have the most exposure to on Underdog.
Actually, no.
Oh, you were gonna go somewhere else?
I was gonna go sneaky, a little more sneaky. A guy that's rising up a little bit, and I think he can get some run. I only took Dubs there because I think he can get him on the wrap.
Now
Rookie
we've got
running
Grande overthinking it. He's really checking this out.
There's another guy that I think I can wait on too that I really like. I'm
just being careful with all this preseason hype and all this stuff about gaining steam because, dude, we how many times have we seen? Like, remember the Chris?
This isn't
Warren?
even a gaining steam guy though. This is a guy that this team is like telegraphing what they want to do.
Remember Chris Warren for the Raiders 2 years ago, dude?
That was a time. Remember Darwin Thompson?
Darwin Thompson, bro. Yeah,
oh, man.
Dude,
Isaiah Pacheco is our generation's Darwin Thompson.
Dude, Chris Warren didn't even make the team, bro. And he was like, everyone's like, this is the guy, dude. Yeah. He had a couple big preseason games. You'd never be able to take those away.
I kind of want to talk about Daryl Williams. And
I guess I better put him in the queue.
Never take those preseason games away from Chris Warren. Is that the guy?
No. I do love Jamal Williams.
This is making for a great podcast. Us just going, is it the guy? Is it that guy? Or is it this guy? Yeah, like we gotta get these picks. Let's get hopefully these picks happen so we can start talking about players here, like actual football players.
Come on.
I really did love the Hard Knocks bump with Williams, just like going super hard at joint Colts practice. Like that guy is intense.
Yeah, Jamal Williams.
Yeah. He's
hilarious too, man. Like not just the Hard Knock stuff, but all the clips about him being a mermaid and like the SpongeBob stuff and the dating an anime guy stuff. All right, Kev. Oh, so the guy that I thought you were going to pick just went to Kirk. J.D. McKissick is the guy I thought you were going to take. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Is Daryl Williams getting the axe, Britt?
Let's not talk about it.
It's a sore subject. I put it in the group chat, and I could just feel the deflation.
I already knew. I saw it as soon as I woke up this morning, and I was just like, no.
You didn't say anything to us?
No, why would I? Because I knew I would get treated like this.
You got to get out in front of that stuff. You got to get out in front of that stuff yourself.
I like to think I was delicate about it, though.
Yeah.
You were. It was all lowercase. There was no punctuation. Like it was pretty soft.
It's pretty soft. Yeah. I didn't say anything. I just, don't want to poke the bear on a day we got a show. But I mean, dude, the thing is Daryl Williams, like he met a lot of the like thresholds you like to see last year. A buddy of mine, Mario from Dad Bod Fantasy, put an article today talking about these thresholds where it's like, when you get 43 receptions, which is what he did, like that opens up the door to pretty high upside in fantasy. Receptions are worth so much more than carries. So, if he's going over there to play with James Conner, who as of late has not been a big reception guy, the intrigue, of course, is there. But if he gets cut, we got to pivot to Eno because we know they're not just going to use one running back every snap. across the league, the teams that did that last year are telling everyone, hey, we recognize that is a bad idea, right? Like the coaches are coming out saying that about Jonathan Taylor, Eddie Faulkner saying about a Najee Harris, right? We've seen Christian McCaffrey get hurt. We've seen Saquon Barkley get hurt. We saw DeMarco Murray get flushed out of the league in like 5 years, right? Getting just, time and time again. I think teams are really figuring it out. So it's not so much about getting the guys that can be there every snap, but getting the guys that play in high leverage situations, which are passing downs and goal line downs, truly. It's just those snaps are worth that much more.
Yeah, you want the guys on getting the high value touches, definitely. That's if you can find guys who pass to those, and you're going to be really, really well off.
Yeah, it's what hurts Tony Pollard, right? Like, I got to do this. I'm going to just do this now.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Who we got?
I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it.
Yeah. Wow, didn't see that coming.
couldn't let anybody knife in there on me. Britt Flinn.
I would never.
I don't think Colby would have done it. Maybe he would have, though. He took Hunter Henry. He took Hunter Henry quickly after I took Cole Kmet. So I don't trust you folks over there on the turn.
That was like the auto, like in poker. That was like an auto shove.
Yeah, that was gone. I mean, this is like I'm getting him at or below ADP. Kind of, not really. I took him a little.
Not really.
I mean, we're looking at what 1, 2, 3,
Dawson
4,
Dawson
5.
Knox goes before him typically. Probably Friday.
Yeah, you got him at like what, tight end 14, I think.
Yeah, that's early, but I don't care.
I mean, he's my guy. They're all flat. Like the tight ends after like 10 are flat.
Exactly. In this range, you just got to take the guys you like. It doesn't have to be like we're talking about your second tight end. Just take the guy you think has the highest possible upside. And I look at this board and I don't see anybody that could lead their team in targets, right? I mean, there hasn't been anybody available that could lead their team in targets for a while, except for Evan Ingram. Like, why can't he lead the team? He might not, but at least it's in these range of outcomes. Like you look at Cole Kmet, he's not going to get more than Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney had 140 targets last year. Dallas Goedert's not going to get more targets than A.J. Brown, right?
Right.
Ertz,
I was about to
Schultz.
tell Britt how much I loved that Wan'Dale Robinson pick, and then she vamoosed on us, at least the video portion. But
when you were throwing the W up, that's who I thought you were talking about.
Romeo Dubs?
You're talking about Dubs. No, for a second, I thought you were talking about Wan'Dale Robinson with the W for Wan'Dale.
Throw them Dubs up.
The Dubs up, dude. Like
I don't listen to the music that the kids are into these days, but I know that one.
The amount of quarterbacks that are still available makes me wish I just didn't take a quarterback at all. Is there anybody that hasn't taken a quarterback yet? No, we all have. Everyone has a quarterback, and we're probably not going to take another one. And if you felt like you could have Stafford or Rodgers, Cousins, Justin Fields with rushing upside, like it makes me not want to ever take a quarterback and just double tap it at some point. Especially if I'm on the swing, I love just not taking any quarterback and just waiting and taking two.
Agreed, Willis, by the way. The director's cut, like the 3-minute long version of Ben Gretch's Romeo Dubs highlight clip. Definitely need that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're all going to be taking quarterbacks, but it's going to be good because this is 20 rounds. I don't know if we're going to be here for the entire 20 here, but, it's really going to get deeper and, that's kind of what you need. You need to be able to see like getting deep into drafts and seeing who some of these guys are after, round 15. I think that's really going to help people, see what else is out there. See how green that grass is on the other side of round 15.
Right. I mean, some people do play in deep drafts. So
that is the thing too. Like I think you kind of want to see who's going in these later rounds, because in some of the leagues with the more shallow benches, like, oh, they'll just be left on waivers, I can kind of wait until they blow up, to pick them up. I think if you're chasing upside, people don't always see the ADP of some of these like dart throw guys. So I think that's why it's really good that we're going through all the way to 20,
Yeah, I agree. I have 4 picks until mine. I'm just hoping one of these 2 running backs don't get sniped by old ice cream headache and Ivar, Ray, Fensty.
Yeah, this is
ice cream headache.
These deep leagues, man, use your RB guys. There's always somebody you like, right? When you
I have a queue of like 9 guys right now.
Yeah, love them all.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, it's not just about not drafting running backs in the through the dead zone and through whatever. Like I took J.K. Dobbins was because I value him in the same range as like a Travis Etienne. But it's knowing depth charts. It's knowing who is the next guy up. It's knowing these running backs, inside and out. Like you have to know more about running backs. Those 2 guys were that was the top of my queue. Yeah. I was thinking about taking Zamir White when I took Eno.
For sure. And that I just did a video this week on that where I talked about if you're going to go 0 RB, like the strategy doesn't end at the draft. It basically begins at the draft. Like you need this massive queue where you're chasing guys into the season. But Kev, you're on the clock, so I'll let you.
Yep, I just took Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, dude, great pick right now. If the Kenyon Drake's gone, like, Brandon Bolden might know the offense, but they're saying that Abdullah's picking it up quick and he's in line for that role. I mean, that James White role, big upside there.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, it was either I just wanted at least one part of that Vegas backfield. It was going to either Zamir White or Abdullah, whatever got to me, or the last guy left. So I'm happy to at least get Abdullah there. I mean,
yeah,
it's worth a stab, right?
Yeah, for sure. Now, in a league that you have to know your format, and when you have this many bench spots, that's where you got to know, like, where the line is drawn, where you're getting into players that are probably going to have no relevance, and when you should start going after like second tight ends or second quarterbacks, because with this many spots, a ton of them are going to get drafted, right? Like all the relevant quarterbacks will be drafted, all the relevant tight ends. So would you rather be ahead of it a little bit and get a highly relevant quarterback, in these rounds, or do you want to keep scrapping for RBs and wide receivers? You kind of got to figure that out. Like with my build right now, I have 7 wide receivers and 4 running backs. So, I could use more running back depth, but at a certain point, like you can only have so many running backs and wide receivers, and you might as well take somebody like Aaron Rodgers or Stafford. Like with Dak Prescott, there's no guarantee that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be my starter as quickly as week 2 or 3.
Right.
Or Justin Fields, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of upside. And there's just so many unknowns, especially at this point. Like we haven't seen the final roster cuts. We haven't seen final depth charts, things like that. So we don't exactly know what everybody's working with at this point. So I feel like if you're drafting before the last preseason game and before final cuts, that it's kind of good to have some kind of contingency plan to base your roster around. Because like we were talking about Daryl Williams earlier, I have a ton of Daryl Williams. He might get cut. So I just wasted a draft pick,
Right. Like, do you want to take Hayden Hurst or do you want to take Aaron Rodgers? Right. Mm-hmm. Like, what are the circumstances that are going to lead Hayden Hurst to be in your lineup? 2 injuries.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah. Or actually, I guess in this format, flexes, you start tight end at flex and all that. But, we're now getting into that range around 15, 16, where I say, Patrick Mahomes was QB 15 the year he broke out. And, the person that took him most likely took a quarterback already and then said, hey, I'm going to take a shot on this guy that everyone's talking about this offseason. And then the dude threw 50 touchdowns, right? Like Hayden Hurst is not going to put together a season that Hayden Hurst doesn't have the upside that Justin Fields has. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to change your life the way, Aaron Rodgers being MVP again might. So,
right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's another guy that's a hard click for me is Hayden Hurst, just because of how consolidated the 11 personnel there in Cincinnati.
Right. He's going to be a guy that, much like CJ Uzoma, where he's not doing much, and then he's going to come out and have like a 2 touchdown game at some point, and everyone's going to add him. Yeah. And then they're going to realize that, he's going to catch like 2 or 3 passes the next couple of games. It's like, without having a path to being a top 2 guy in the team, it's a rough spot in a format like this.
True. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what's available.
There, Bender. Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins. Like, those are two dudes. Derek Carr's over-under with Vegas is like 4,400 yards. It's crazy. It's like the fourth highest of any quarterback. And then Kirk Cousins basically had the same passing stats as Josh Allen last year, you know? So you can wait on quarterback the way Howard did and feel good about it.
Yeah. It's to your point. I mean, Trey Lance, should he sputter? You know, fine.
You should absolutely draft a quarterback here, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Right. Like, now you're in a great spot now because Lance, like, if Lance is the guy that we hope he is, then he's going to have an amazing floor, right? 10 carries a game or even 8 carries a game. Forget about it. You never start Rodgers over that guy because the floor is amazing. But if he comes out and he's not doing that and they're just doing a bunch of like weird play action offense and, you know, they keep having over-unders that are like 40 points. Like this first Bears game, the Bears game.
It'd be like 12.
This old-timey Bears 49ers
leather
game.
Helmet.
12. Yeah, leather helmet game that we're about to see between two unpolished quarterbacks. I mean, you might have Rodgers in there. Like, for instance, if I'm taking my two quarterbacks were Derek Carr and Trey Lance, I would start Derek Carr week 1, and I would continue to start Derek Carr until I trusted Lance because Derek Carr plays the Chargers week 1. Huge over-under game. I think it's like 52, 53.
55 and a half or something.
Is it 55 and a half now? I know it opened.
So.
It opened high at like 53, but if it's 55, I mean, like, I'm feeling good about that. And then I think the next game they get the Cardinals. Like, I think their schedule starts out pretty spicy, the Raiders schedule. So, can we get is Scott Frankel in here? Vegas, boots on the ground. Can we get an over-under for that first Raiders game versus the Chargers? Maybe Frankel left. We have been on for over an hour.
The over-under?
We got to check with our Vegas insider, Scott Frankel.
So it opened at 51 and a half. I'm not sure if it's moved.
Okay.
But still.
But anything over 50 is a big number. You know,
right now we're looking at 51 and a half, 52.
Yeah, that's a big number for these games. I mean, they're expecting 10 more points in that game than the game Lance is playing in. You know, so something to think about. And this
is the flip side of that Lance Rodgers thing too, because, you know, with my construction, if Lance sucks, you know, Debo and Ayuk are pretty much dead. And that's, you know, that's kind of the draft like your win. I'm drafting like the San Francisco 49ers are just going to smash this season. Trey Lance is going to be that later round quarterback that vaults into the top 3 or 4 next year. And he's going to bring Ayuk and Debo along for the ride. Like, that's the bet you make.
Mm-hmm. Could easily be, man. It could easily be that he's scoring a ton of rushing touchdowns. Like, you know, Jalen Hurts early season wasn't, he wasn't even good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, you could be an objectively bad quarterback and still be a good fantasy quarterback. Like, look, Jalen Hurts. Look at, you know, Blake Bortles.
Yeah, so I'm going to take upside guy. I mentioned his name a bunch, but I'm going to go upside here with another mobile quarterback. And we saw him have 10 carries last year against this 49ers team. So.
Have we really gotten to the point in our draft where we're taking Titanic survivor Felix Jones?
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody nominated him so early in the Kings Classic auction.
We laughed about that on the other side of the room.
Did they get him for one pick? Did they get him for $1?
I think it was it might have been Doug Orth, who I was sitting across from, who, remember, I saw him look over. He's like, did they just nominate Felix Jones?
Yeah.
Did he go to the person who nominated him for $1?
I'm fairly certain.
Oh, that's so good.
Gary Davenport got her first $1 bid in the Kings Classic with Kenny Galladay for $1. Nobody touched him.
Mm-mm.
$1 bid.
$1 American style dollar. Not touching it.
I said the other day on Alarm After Hours that Daniel Jones and Kenny Galladay weren't only on the same page, they're on different sides of the library. And I really don't think that gets better.
Daniel Jones is in the computer lab and Kenny Galladay's smoking in the parking garage.
Yeah, basically.
Here's a pick I'm not super hyped on, but I think this
guy Felix Jones already went.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Taking Taking
I think that's fine.
Use in my queue. Use in my queue.
He'll play.
I got him for $1 in that league. Speaking of, he's
full PPR. Full PPR. Yeah. He's a football player. But that's the part of the draft where it's like that's my analysis for the pick. He's a football player and it's full PPR.
Yep.
My queue is still 7 running backs deep, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
I'm almost terrified.
The strategy doesn't end. I'm sorry, Britt.
I said I'm almost terrified to look at his queue. If it's this deep in the draft and it's still 7 people in his queue.
You're definitely taking Kyle Juszczyk.
I might be taking Alec Ingle before I take Kyle Juszczyk. Let's be honest.
Kyle Juszczyk.
Reggie Gilliam.
Kyle Juszczyk played more pass snaps than any running back on that team last year, and more per game pass snaps than any running back on that team. Is this an endorsement to draft him in any format at any point? No.
I mean, Axel might, because
that's a
he
number.
would bring us start-sit questions last season with like Juszczyk and Jeremy McNichols and Kene Nwangwu.
And the start 3 kickers. Which one would you pick?
Nwangwu is kind of nice, dude. I'm telling you, that's how these careers start. You start running back. First, you run back the kicks. Then you get the khakis. Then you get the touchdowns, dude. Then you get the starting role, bro. We see it time and time again. Alvin Kamara, David Johnson. These guys, they come out. They're too hot. They're just two running back. The dude ran back 2 kicks last year. He ran back a bunch in college, dude. Des Bryant, Randy Moss, these guys all running back punts, running back kicks. And then they say, you know what? You're too good for this special team stuff. We're bringing you on over to the offensive side. These dudes keep doing that kind of stuff, man. That's how it starts. We always look back at, 105-yard kick return for Alvin Kamara. And we're like, how do we not realize right away this guy's special,
David Johnson, yeah.
Right. Kine's doing it, dude. Or I don't even know how to pronounce his name correctly, but
Ty
I think
Chandler.
It's Kene Nwangwu.
Yeah, Ty Chandler.
Ty Chandler. Treston Ebner. Is Treston Ebner in your queue?
He's not. There are 2 Kansas City Chief running backs in my queue, and I'm going to take one of them right now.
That's it.
Oh no.
Gotta take Jared McKinnon if he's here.
Anthony Sherman. Anthony Sherman.
Derek Carr's not in there, not yet at least.
McKinnon, dude, is just like one of the biggest what ifs, right? Like, crazy.
Athletically, it was an amazing athlete. I mean, he's still, I would venture to say he is probably more insulated in this offense than anybody there. CEH, Pacheco, Ronald Jones, if he's even still going to be on the team. Like, I think that third down role, I think he proved a lot in the playoffs last season, where I think they're going to use him in the passing game. I think he's going to be like more of a sneaky option as far as certainly in full PPR.
Dude, Derek McKinnon at the combine did more reps on the bench press of 225 than
offensive linemen.
Than offensive linemen and defensive tackles. Britt, take a guess how many bench press reps this guy did. Of 225, so that's 2 plates on each side.
I don't know what's good. I don't work out.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Britt's like
I'm
2,
like,
1.
Yeah, like I don't.
It's like lifting up a piece of lettuce.
I'm like, what's impressive?
32.
Yeah.
Like
okay,
20,
that's
20
impressive.
In the low 20s is pretty good. Like very good, actually.
If you're a normal human, not an NFL player, then the day that you actually bench, the first time you ever bench 2 plates is like a day where you and your buddies go get beers. You know what I mean? Like, that's an accomplishment for a normal person, dude. These guys are obviously freakazoids, but 32 is even insane for running backs, for anybody really. But like 32 is ridiculous for a guy his size.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. That's acceptable.
My favorite bench. Sorry.
Oh, I'm just gonna say the Matt Breida pick. Like, I'm more in on. They've been saying Wan'Dale Robinson is gonna get that second. He's gonna get some rushing attempts if something were to happen to Saquon Barkley. Not gonna get all of them. Breida's still gonna be in there, but they're gonna be using a lot more Wan'Dale Robinson in the run game if something were to happen to Saquon Barkley. I mean, they're pretty much dead in the water if something does happen to him. But I mean, look at last year. But that's at least intriguing to me, and that kind of bumps up Wan'Dale Robinson a little bit. Even, that wide receiver group is very much in flux with Galladay, with Sterling Shepard, with all those other guys, with Kadarius Toney, but that bumps him up a little bit more for me.
Yeah.
And Slayton on the chopping block apparently too.
Yeah.
Britt, so this year, your boy Jelani, Sweet Jelani, he led all tight ends in bench press reps of 225. How many do you think he did?
Like,
Jerick McKinnon did 32.
Jelani's a grown-ass man, so let's see. You can see the wheels and the calculus spinning up here. I'm going to say 37.
He did 24.
Really?
That's how yoked Jerick McKinnon is. And 24 is good. Like the other guys, Daniel Bellinger did 22. Cole Turner did 17. Greg Dulcich did 16. Like, that's how crazy it is that McKinnon did 32. Like, he had no business doing the bench press. He had no business doing it that many times. But I was gonna say my favorite story from the combine bench press is that quarterbacks don't do it. Like, you don't have to do it at all. But Jay Cutler volunteered to do it. He was like, I'm doing it anyway. Right. And he went out and did 23, which was more than any of the tight ends that year, dude. And he's like, I'm yoked, dude. He's like, I'm coming out here to compete. He's like, throw me on the bench. Like, they're like, quarterbacks don't do that. And he's like, Jay Cutler does it, baby. Let's go.
Cutler's wild.
Yeah. What a beast, dude. That's such a power move. Being like, yeah, I'm doing it.
Jeff Wilson was an auto click there. I just couldn't find him.
He's a hover player for me for sure.
I think we're getting to that point in the draft though that everybody's kind of a hover player down here. Like, there aren't that many diamond in the rough start throws.
Well, this is where it pays to know beyond the starters.
Right.
We're getting to the part of the draft where I'm pretending like we have IR spots in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I want this. I kind of want this league to play out now. Not gonna lie.
we always say that, dude. I'm gonna go back and look at. We should go back and look at last year's. I'm sure it was a disaster. Actually, I'm sure I probably won.
Like Marshawn Lynch in like the 14th round.
Yeah, something like that. How long are we doing this stream for? Are we gonna do the whole thing, or we're getting pretty close?
Yeah, we're getting close to the end here. I would say probably another loop and then back over.
Should we just do it? Should we just do it? We're pretty close.
Yeah, we're almost to
that. Well, all right, we're in it. Let's go. It's like the NBC, supersize episode of Lightning Round. Let's go.
Put on a pot of coffee, Alex Keaton. We're going to the end, baby.
The lights in the Lightning House are staying on.
This is such a good point, though. If Burita gets in your lineup over those other guys, then you are in a whole heap of trouble, dude. Yeah, there's a lot of hopes and prayers at this stage of the draft.
A lot of T's and P's.
Oh,
I don't know, but think about last year when Derrick Henry got hurt, and
who took Chris Evans?
Ivar.
Yeah, he was in my queue as well.
Yep.
I know. This is also the point of the draft where you zone in on like your favorites and you don't really care about anybody else. And so when you get sniped, it hurts like your ideology even harder.
Right. Yeah. Like I already picked him in my mind. I was going to talk about how he had like a kick return for a touchdown in the preseason game the other day. You know, I had everything figured out back then.
I had David Bell in my queue.
I'm going to take
that dream died.
I'm going to take a currently injured player that's going to miss 4 games minimum.
Tyquan?
No.
You're taking Gus.
The bus boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad pick.
It's a pretty bad pick, but it's
no, I love Gus.
I love Gus too, man, but they just said he was already the backup running back, and they just said that
we lost Britt.
Brittster. Yeah, she said that. She said she liked Gus Edwards, and it just forced her out.
Literally. She made her shot. She loves Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards and log out.
Yep. Hopefully she's back.
Gus Edwards and log out, Britt?
Yeah, I dropped the mic. It was done.
You're on the clock.
No.
Mic drop.
It's because I'm broadcasting off my phone and I scooted it over because my headphones. Yeah. Anyway,
Hey,
it's been the night of technical difficulties, but it's fine. And the
Byron
dog's trying to
Pringle,
bust
dude.
down the door. I don't know. I can't. Once you pop, you can't stop. I can't get away from him.
Kind of a great pick though, dude. No.
And then I'm gonna do this guy in case the Eno does not pan out. Pass catcher, Arizona State. Like, I don't know.
Like, if you're in a managed league, like, you got to be thinking too that, I mean, you can churn a lot of these spots, but then also on the flip side too, if you're going as deep as this league is, there isn't going to be much to churn. But there's always going to be guys. Like, that's why I'm always, I'll take shots on guys, and then knowing that, okay, they don't work out, I've got roster churn spots.
Yeah. You need those churn spots. You need those like scratch ticket spots, right? Where it's like, rather than
I start mine in the 7th round. So
yeah, this is the perfect, this is the top part of the draft where Mr. Scampers shows up saying birds aren't real. That's how deep we are in this draft, dude. Scampers, dude.
You rascal.
The podcast, the greatest podcast chat cat there's ever been. What's up, Scampers?
Or ever will be.
Or ever will be. I don't know. Like he's got to hang out and protect his title for a bit at least.
Had the fourth pick at a standard. I mostly go RB. RB, should I go Jefferson or Cup? Talk me off the ledge.
Standard, go high A dot players if you're gonna go there.
Yeah,
so
I take Jefferson.
Take Cooper Kupp. Yeah, don't take Cooper Kupp in a. I mean, Cooper Kupp is amazing in every format, but we don't know if he's going to be as good as he was last year. So you want those chunk play guys,
those chunkers.
Get as many chunkers as possible. I mean, in standard, if I have the fourth pick, I'm probably taking
whatever wide receiver is left out of you have your decision of 2 typically.
I don't know, because I moved Derrick Henry up in standard. Like if I'm not in any standard leagues, but I would use that as an excuse to get myself a share of Derrick Henry. Like if somebody was like, if Howard came to me and was like, you have to play in this standard league because I'm your boss, I would go out of my way to try and draft Derrick Henry just so I have Derrick Henry somewhere. I have him in a dynasty league, but it would be nice to have, diversify. I just can't do it,
How do we feel about Okoye-Boonham falling all the way to the 18th? Like, when you think about when redrafts first started this year, like everybody thought he was going to be the guy and people were trying to trade for him. And now they're talking like he's not even the starter anymore.
2021 or 2022's Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, I think it's a case of like overhype from podcasts and from delivering so quickly. It happens in Dynasty all the time where it's like a dude that is not expected to do anything gets a little hype and then he delivers a little something and it gets you super excited. Pat Freiermuth is another great example of that, where it's like he goes from nothing to something and he gets you so fired up about him being something that he kind of jumps way up. But then when the dust settles and you look around, they still have Claypool and they still have Deontay Johnson, and then George Pickens hype is picking up, and then it's not as exciting. And I think that's what's going on with Albert O, where Tim Patrick, Fant gets traded and Patrick gets hurt, but then at the end of the day, people start realizing, they still have Sutton and they still have Judy, so how excited can we be? So it's kind of a come back to earth moment, I feel like, which happens a lot with, Rondell Moore and all these guys, where it's like as soon as they do a little something, you get fired up, but you kind of overdo it. And it could be happening right now with guys like Damian Pierce or, some of those hype guys.
Yeah.
I just cemented a churn spot with my last pick with Will Fuller.
Oh, yep.
I mean, if he gets picked up by anybody, it doesn't matter. Could be the Bears for all we know. I mean, that guy's like a 11th, 12th round pick, right?
Yeah, somebody's got to pick him up. I mean,
I would have taken him earlier.
Or he just doesn't want to play football, which is possible too.
I would have taken him earlier, and I would have taken him in a different format, but I already had DeAndre Hopkins, You can only take so many of those guys, right?
Right.
You got to, in a format like this with 3 wide receivers and 3 flexes, you can't be drafting too many guys who aren't playing football, you know? So that's the thing. You got to pick and choose between DeAndre Hopkins and potentially Michael Gallup, right? Like, I can't have Fuller and Hopkins, I feel like.
Wow.
No, and the wide receivers are getting thin.
I say that, and then Fuller's going to go and vaporize Donovan Peoples-Jones by signing with the Browns.
Oh, God.
To play with Deshaun Watson again. I mean, it's like the narrative it's right there.
It's built in.
Brevin Jordan, dude. I'm surprised that Colby Conway took Irv Smith over Brevin Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, played yourself. He's a Texans fan and a Brevin Jordan fan, but there hasn't been as much smoke on Brevin Jordan as I would hope. Now, I like the Austin Hooper pick by Dan at this point. There has been a lot of good stuff on Hooper. He's not super exciting, but with Woods and Burks, who knows? They're all new to the system. So,
Ooh, a Trey Sermon.
He's on the chopping block reportedly too.
Is he?
Which is absurd.
Yeah, so nutty.
They traded up. I felt like they traded up to take him to spite Robert Saleh. Like, because I feel like the Jets were looking at a running back, and the 49ers traded in front of the Jets to take Sermon, and then the Jets took Michael Carter. And it's like, you guys traded up to take this dude, and he hasn't even played at all, and you're going to release him?
I just said damn it over. Sorry.
No, go for it.
Oh, just gonna say I said damn it over a guy that I've heard of. Only heard of over the last 4 days. Jaylen Warren.
Right. Yeah, that's a new one. But I mean, they talk we talked about it earlier. If the coach says Najee Harris needs to play 7 less snaps a game, I'm not sure what sort of magic 8-ball they asked that question to come up with the number 7, right? But they this is the formulas. That's something that Ernie Adams would come up with in Belichick's basement. Like, my formulas tell me 7 fewer snaps, right? Right. But somebody's got to play those snaps, right? Yeah. It's not going to be Benny Snell.
The public perception on Mike Gesicki is falling by the hour, it seems like.
Dude, I'll take him in my next pick if he's there. Because what if he gets traded?
That's what I'm pinning the hopes on.
It can only get better.
After the franchise tag?
I mean, the time for that was when you could still sign a contract. Like, you can't sign a long-term contract now, right?
Right.
Like the Devontae, people are saying do the Devontae Adams move. Well, unless you got a time machine, you can't really do that.
The window's passed. You can't do it.
Yeah. Mac Jones, baby, let's go.
I really like Gesicki elsewhere. I don't think that he's the right type of guy to fill that George Kittle role, because we've seen how bad he is at blocking. And I mean, Kittle does a ton of blocking. That's what Mike McDaniel wants out of his tight end. He wants kind of that all-purpose guy. And that's just not Gesicki. He's not going to fit into this offense. And I don't think I have any shares of him right now, but if he gets traded, I would reconsider my position. But
I have him in Dynasty. I don't know what to do about it.
I like Gesicki on the other 31 teams in the NFL. That's what Britt just said.
I mean, it's kind of the case though. Yeah. There's definitely a couple teams where he wouldn't be a good fit, but just think about it. In most teams, if you're trading for him, you're going to trade for him to play slot. Like, you don't trade for a guy to not utilize him the way that you would want to.
Right.
What if he went to the Bears and ruined all of our Cole Kmet shares?
So he's 2019 Jimmy Graham all over again?
Yeah. I would hate that. That would be terrible. Why am I speaking that into existence, y'all?
Yeah. Cut that out. I hate the Taekwondo.
Now why would that be?
Why would that be?
Yeah.
I hate that Taekwondo Thornton got hurt, man, because I was liking that pick late. It was giving me, it was scratching that homer itch. Sterling Shepard is a guy that me and Mpemba have liked for a long time, dude. And I like to see Mpemba take him here so that I don't have to, because he was in my queue. And
Anytime he gets 65 catches in the 19th round, you got to do it.
I'll just say, man, how many dudes out there, how many dudes left have gotten 14 targets in a game? probably Sterling Shepard and probably this guy that I'm drafting right now. But there's not a lot of those guys floating around that have done that in a game at any point in their career. And, dusty or not, coming off a torn Achilles tendon, a late season torn Achilles tendon or not, at least we know these guys are capable of it. Whereas like some of these other dudes, you were just hoping they return a punt or something,
To answer
Scamp.
Mr. Scampers, the answer is Johnny Munt.
Munt it up. You see where Munt went.
Eli Wolf. Yeah.
Eli Wolf. You saw where Munt went, right?
Isn't he in Minnesota?
Yeah, he followed Kevin O'Connell to Minnesota to continue his life.
That's like the perfect. You see that happen all like Mercedes Lewis following Nathaniel Hackett to Green Bay. Like that. That's the stuff that happens.
You know what spot we need in fantasy? We need like a blocking tight end / extra tackle slot where it's like you have to start like Nick Boyle is like the stud. Like he goes off the board super early.
Can it be a flex so I can start out so I can finally draft Alan Lazard?
Yeah. Well,
Oh my God.
That would be if that existed, that would be the only place where I would draft Alan Lazard is in point per block leagues. Let's go.
Yeah, no points for blocking, but you can only start block tight ends or fullbacks.
Michael Pruitt.
Yeah.
That's where you get those use check shares flying around.
I was going to say use check all day right there.
Yeah, I'm on the clock. These guys probably hate us. We're sitting here like.
Now I'm thinking about guy like.
How about this one, Kev? Kev, grade this pick.
Don't do it because there's a guy I want to take. Okay, all right. Wait, he's at oh, that's right. He's a wide receiver here.
They'll add it.
But yeah,
RT Sports. I've already hypothetically added an IR spot in my mind, so I'm also just gonna add.
That's the Ben Gretsch special, by the way. It's the Ty Montgomery pick.
Love that pick, dude. Love Ben Gretsch. He's a sharp kid.
He is.
Every time he agrees with me, he gets a little sharper. I feel like, in my opinion.
He gets sharper.
Every time he agrees with me, I'm like, you know what? I always knew I liked this guy. And everyone that disagrees with me, I'm like, I'm not sure this guy knows what he's doing.
There's a pick that I'm going to make here.
Is it Joshua Kelly?
No. And I'm going to trust Ray, and I'm going to trust Fensty not to make it. I'm going to put my faith in them.
Well, can we try and guess who it is?
Crap, I can't because Britt already took him.
Who was it? Keontae Ingram?
Because I was going to play this.
Yes! Oh my God! Look at that hair! Oh my God! Oh my God! It's so beautiful.
Thank you. It is beautiful, dude. Are we
that
sure
is the most pure video this offseason?
Are we sure that's not James Franco?
It might be. I want to see him look back and wink.
Dude, it looks like somebody cast James Franco to play Weird Al in a documentary. Like that's what Greg Dulcich looks like, dude.
That's good. I like that.
That's probably the most perfect analogy that I've.
I might have to tweet that one out, dude. Let me find a good picture. All right, last round. Oh, I'm done. I'm logging out. See ya.
Well, yeah. All right. I guess I got one more pick.
Take a running back, Kev.
Sorry, I am. You, Kevin.
I've still got three guys in my queue left.
You got Nwangwu in there?
I don't.
Well, then make it 4. Why is Anthony Sherman in here still? Why is Andre Ellington here?
It's really a one-man queue as far as if he gets there, but
it's Julius Chestnut.
It is not. I actually mentioned him at the Fantasy Football Expo at the very end of the expert mock draft as a potential sleeper this season.
So you went out to the Fantasy Expo and name dropped Julius Chestnut, dude.
I name dropped Tyler Beatty.
How'd that make you feel? That's a good pick.
I love Beatty. And especially with Gus being out, like, I don't think Justice Hill's going to be a thing. Mike Davis.
I just realized I handcuffed J.K. Dobbins, by the way.
That's perfect.
Okay, so while we're in this range, I want to mention a couple guys. Now, if let's say the Colts ghosts in my house. Let's say the Colts signed T.Y. Hilton to play for them tomorrow. Would he go anywhere in your rankings at all? And would that even affect your opinions on any of the guys, any of the Paris Campbells or the Alec Pierces of the world?
I still think he's got to go. If T.Y. Hilton gets signed, I think he's probably going in lockstep in ADP with like Paris Campbell and Corey Davis, guys like that.
Right. Like if they just came out and were like, you know what, he's a veteran and he didn't want to go through camp, but he's coming back to one more year, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like his neck injury, like he was lucky that he got to play last season, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Hilton doesn't really move the needle that much for me, but I understand that, if he's healthy, he's probably going to get 80-ish targets.
Yeah. Sure. All right, I got to go, man. That was a good show.
Right.
Good
Absolutely. Draft. Yeah, so Expert Mock Draft here. I'll put the board in our description as well on YouTube and on the pods as well. Next week, we're going to have a pretty big show as far as like content, because we're going to have Jacob Sanderson on. We're also going to be doing a Football Guys draft with him, quad managed. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the Canadian and the Can-Am connection.
Can-Am, baby.
That's the best I can do. It's short notice. It's the best I can do. But yeah, so we will have Jacob on. He's fantastic. And of course, another Tony Pollard truther. Coop, you're outnumbered, by the way. I'm sorry.
We'll bring him on board. You know what? If Sanderson's kind enough to come join our podcast, we can draft any of the weirdos he wants to take. We can take Gabriel Davis too, dude. I'm saying it right now that if you guys have the votes, so just remember that when it's time to draft Adam Thielen and some of the guys I like.
All right. Well, we will get on out of here. For Britt Flinn, for Andrew Cooper, I'm Kevin Tompkins. Thank you so much again, Fantasy Alarm, and everybody in the draft for making this. I thought this was actually going to go longer, not going to lie, but a rather tight hour and 40 minutes, if you want to put it like that. But thanks to everybody. Hope you enjoyed my Ideological Zero RB draft. That's all I got for Britt. For Andrew, I'm Kevin. Toodles.